All right, Sairam, everyone. You guys can do better than that. Sairam, everyone. Sairam, good morning. What a wonderful bhajan session to start us off, as well as the amazing Nagar Sankirtan this morning. Such a lovely way to wake up, hearing the bhajans come by. My name is Yogini. I'm from Minneapolis, and I am one of your MCs for this weekend.
I'm Shreya. I'm from Phoenix. Actually, Shreyas and Ramya were my SSC teachers, so we are having a reunion here. I live in Rochester now. I'm told to stay apart from Yogini, so I'll be over here.
And it's our amazing honor to welcome you all to the 33rd Annual Region 5 Retreat. And thank you, Ramesh Uncle, for that wonderful welcome address. As he said, the theme of our retreat this year is Serve and Inspire, Living His Mission. And what a beautiful theme that is, right? So there's a quote from Swami. He says that Seva brings you nearer to me. Through Seva, you realize that all beings are waves of the ocean of divinity. No other sadhana can bring you into the incessant contemplation of the oneness of all living beings. You feel another's pain as your own. You share another's success as your own. To see everyone else as yourself and yourself in everyone, that is the core of the sadhana of Seva. And what a beautiful message that is for all of us. I think truly, as many of us I'm sure have experienced through service projects at our own centers, we really experience that oneness in everything and everyone. And I think even going beyond just talking about empathizing with other human beings, right? A lot of what we're going to be talking about at this retreat is about the environment, right? We have an amazing tree planting seva coming up tomorrow. And so going even beyond empathizing with everyone, human being, going and empathizing with every living creature, every unique aspect of nature, I think that's an amazing aspect of service. So beyond the amazing program today, which we'll get into, another thing that I always love about coming to the retreat is getting to meet everyone from all around the region. As Ramesh Uncle said, we're a very big region, so we have a lot of different states and cities and centers represented here. So I thought I'd just do a quick little census poll and see who we have represented here today. Maybe I'll start with Wisconsin. Raise your hands or make some noise. Do we have Milwaukee in the house?
The loudest gets the prize.
Woohoo! Yes, Milwaukee and Madison. All right, how about Indiana? Do we have anyone from Indiana here?
Ooh.
All right. Yeah, Indiana. So that's Fort Wayne. And other centers. How about Michigan? All right. Okay. Ann Arbor or Detroit? Detroit? Ann Arbor? Are you here?
All together.
Woohoo! Okay, all together, yeah. Unity and everything,
Unity,
right?
yes.
Okay, who else do we have? Do we have anyone from Nebraska here? No? Okay. Maybe we'll see some people from Nebraska later. How about Ohio? Yeah. All right. Okay, and how about let's do our own home state, Minnesota.
Yes, Minnesota.
Woo! Woo! All right, Minnesota represent. And okay, I'm expecting a big noise for this one. How about our host city, Chicagoland, Illinois? Awesome.
Seems like a lot of people from Chicago.
Yes.
Good. You live here, so I'm glad you came.
Yes, and they always do amazing work hosting this retreat every year. Okay, who else? Am I missing anyone? Dakotas? Do we have anyone from the Dakotas here? North Dakota?
Anyone we didn't call? Who's
Anyone we
here?
didn't-
Swami brought you to us.
Iowa.
Iowa.
All right.
Who's from Iowa?
Woohoo!
Woo. Okay, great.
There is one person representing Iowa and Chicago.
And one person is all you need, right?
That's true.
With the dedication like that. All right. So yeah, it's wonderful to see everyone here. I know we have our wonderful speakers from visiting us from outside the region, from Arizona, Sister Anu from the East Coast. So it's so wonderful to see you all here in person, all together. I think next we'll go into some of our announcements and our programs for the day.
Yeah, so we have the meditation room is going to be in Nichols Lodge. There are QR codes that will show up here. You can take a picture. They'll tell you where everything is, maps, what's happening when, subject to change, so just keep in mind. Health screening in the birdhouse basement where you came for registration. So that's going to be on a different slide, so I'll get into that later. Bookstore in the dining hall foyer. The timings are from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. and then tomorrow 7 a.m. to 11 a.m. So make sure to visit the bookstore, especially during the breaks. You can go see the bookstore as well. Very important is the Liquid Love Blood Drive. If you we still have quite a few spots, so if you have not signed up, please do so. If you're O, and don't want to sign up, think about it again, because you'll save 3 times the number of people. If you're O negative and you don't want to sign up, come talk to me, and I promise you I will persuade you to sign up. So.
And the registration link for that is on the retreat website. If you want to pre-register, it'll save you time when you go to the donation site.
And please, please, please think about signing up for the blood drive. We really, really need that. I'm a medical student, so I really urge you to go donate some blood. And then finally, we have our car stickers, Seva by Sister Ella and Tad. This is going to be in the parking lot, and that's today from 12:30 to 3. So in the next break, go and check out some car stickers and add one to your own car. And then we're talking about health screening, so they will do blood pressure, hemoglobin, A1C, blood tests, and then a lipid panel. So if you're interested in that, it's going to be in the basement of where you came to register, so the birdhouse.
And we have an amazing program laid out for today. We'll be starting off with our first speaker session from Sister Anu Venkateshwaran. That will be coming up right here shortly. That will be followed by a workshop. We have both an adult workshop and a YA workshop. And that's going to be very interactive, a lot of fun. I'm sure we'll be learning a lot about ourselves and about aspects of service from that. And then we have an amazing SSE-led program in the afternoon, the Sai Carnival. We'll have carnival booths, talent show, costume contest, so a lot of fun things coming up there. And that will be followed in the afternoon by our second speaker session with Sister Ramya Kumar and Brother Shreyas. And finally, we'll have a wonderful devotional program in the evening.
And then coming tomorrow, we have the tree planting seva that'll be right after lunch, right after lunch at 2 p.m. And we also have the SSE skit presentation. So if you can stay for the tree planting and follow in our mission to have 1 million trees planted, that would be really wonderful. And then there's also a few reminders. Scan the QR codes for the program agenda. And then we are having a service for Bernie's books. So if you have any children's books that you can drop off, please go. It's right by the registration area or the SSE hall. So there's going to be a couple of bins you can drop off. Stay hydrated. There's going to be fountain stations all around. So in the dining hall, there's one right outside here. Use your reusable water bottle. Save the environment. Yes, please do that.
And it's going to be very hot, so please do stay hydrated.
I'm from Arizona, and it's still very hot, so please. The restrooms are right over there. Okay, great. And then here's the QR code. If you'd like to scan it, it has the agenda on it and the map as well.
And this QR code is posted at various areas around as well.
I will say it's signed very well. I don't think you can get lost here.
No. All right, so with that, I think we'll hand it over to our first speaker of the day. We have Sister Anu Venkateshwaran joining us. Anu was born into a family that has been in Swami's fold since 1964. She went through the Balvikas SSC program in Chennai, India, and graduated from the Sri Satya Sai Institute of Higher Learning, Anantapur campus, with a bachelor's degree in physics. After moving to the United States, she has been actively involved in the education, devotion, and service wings of the organization. Currently, she serves as the devotional coordinator for USA Region 3. She's also the SSE coordinator of the Northeast Atlanta Psi Center, where she teaches Group 4 students. During the pandemic, she had the opportunity to share Swami's message and stories virtually in several countries. During these sessions, she has felt the universality of Swami's love through his devotees. It's our great honor to have Sister Anu with us here today, so please give her a big warm welcome as she comes to the stage.
I offer my prayerful salutations at the divine lotus feet of our most beloved Bhagwan. Respected elders, brothers and sisters, young adults, Sai Ram, and a very good morning to you all. What a beautiful venue you have chosen. So kudos to the leadership here in Region 5. And all the young adults, give yourselves a big hand. You just see Swami in nature, in the stillness as we were walking, as we were doing the meditation this morning, and the Suprabhatam and the Nagar Sankirtan. You could just feel one with Swami, nature. Every opportunity to speak about Swami, to hear his stories, to talk about his mission, his life and mission, is a blessing given by Swami. For the past few weeks, I've been reflecting on my journey with Swami through the lens of the theme, beautiful theme you've chosen for this retreat, serve and inspire. Now, the living his mission part is tricky, because Swami himself said, when a devotee once said, we should all work for Swami's mission, he said, what mission are you referring to, sir? My only mission is to help you realize that you are divine. So today, this morning, I'm going to focus on the serve and inspire part, and you will see that Swami has led his life that way, right? Love in action is service, and if you look at Swami's life from his childhood, whether it was with the Pandari Bhajan boys, or with his own family, or for the villagers, Swami has proved that love in action, service. So today, I will share with you my journey through the lens of serve and inspire, and some stories and anecdotes and my own personal experience. And as I share these, I urge you to reflect on your own journey with Swami. It's about each of your connection with Swami as I share my stories. In the late 70s, a scientist named Dr. Frank Baranowski, he was not a devotee of Swami. He was just studying auras and energies in people. So he had studied hundreds of people, several saints, world leaders, the likes of Mother Teresa. He had studied several people. So he wanted to study Swami. He had heard about Swami. So he came as a scientist, as a man of science. And when he used his device, the Kirlian photography, when he used that, he says he could see the aura extend into the horizon. Typically for you and me, and I can't say for you, for me, it probably extends this far or maybe this far, but for Swami, it just went beyond the horizon. They have these colors. White reflects something, blue reflects something else, and pink is all-encompassing love. It was just extending beyond anything he had ever seen. And when he had an opportunity that evening to speak to everybody that was gathered there, he said he was quivering and shaking. He had never been in that kind of a presence before. And my first interaction with Swami as a child, I can say I felt that same energy. And I'm sure you all agree. No matter how many times you've had his darshan, when you're in his presence, the tears just flow automatically, and you just feel that. You can sense it as he's walking towards you, as he's approaching you. And he described Swami as love walking on 2 feet. What better words to describe our Lord? So my first darshan of Swami was in the early 80s in Chennai. That's where I was born and raised. Sundaram was constructed in the early 80s, so Swami was visiting Chennai several times in a year then. So darshans would happen in, if you're from that area, Abbotsbury in Chennai, and Sundaram. That's where Swami would give us darshans and discourses. I still, if I close my eyes, I can just vividly remember that memory. I was a little girl sitting in darshan, and as Swami just glided past the sea of devotees, I just felt that love. Until that moment, I'd heard about Swami. I was fortunate to be born in a family that was already devoted to Swami. But to just see him just reflect the love of everybody else and bouncing that energy off, as Dr. Frank Baranowski described, was just so beautiful. Words cannot capture that. And I remember thinking, we typically go to a temple and we offer things and we go do pradakshinas and we place our offerings there. Here is this God, living, breathing avatar, who's walking towards us, who's seeking us out, asking for our letter, curing us of an illness, materializing vibhuti, patting someone on the cheek. This is love in action. And I was fortunate that I grew up in a family where everybody had love and devotion for Swami from my maternal side. My mother was the first in the family to come to Swami. Tomorrow I'll focus a little bit on my own personal experiences and my journey. If there are children that are able to attend, it would be lovely for them to hear some of these stories too, to feel that this is not somebody up in a picture. He can relate to me, I can relate to him. So I'll save those stories for tomorrow. My mother, my maternal grandparents, my aunts, they made a huge influence in my life. They've been a huge inspiration for me. And my mother in particular, as a Sevadal in Chennai, watching her do that. We want our children to be good. We also want them to be great, but we definitely want them to be good. And they will be good if they watch us do good things. When we go to Seva and they come with us, it becomes a part of who they are. And I can say for sure that my mother is who planted that seed in me. I've seen her read to the visually impaired. If you're from Chennai, Kodambakam area, there's a Holy Angel School. She would go there and read as a Sevadal. And I would be so upset that I wasn't old enough to read to those kids. I was waiting to get into that group 4 age, so I would be allowed to read to them. And I eventually ended up being a scribe for some of them and even helped write their exams for some of the young adults there. I watched my mother go to Sundaram and do the vibhuti packets, the packing of the vibhuti packets, and all the aunties would sit around, talk about Swami, sing Swami's bhajans and pack. And sadhana camp, I particularly remember cleaning Kabalishwara temple. It's a beautiful temple, very, very old temple. And I remember doing that as part of a service project, a sadhana camp. We went and cleaned the premises, cleaned the Tepakulam, the pond area and all of that. Those memories still stay with me. And of course, needless to say, Prashanti Seva as a Sevadal, I think that's one of the most cherished memories for anyone who served as a Sevadal. My mother has served in the canteen. She's done security duty. And what security can you provide to the Lord, who provides security to the entire universe? It's just making sure in each of these different blocks, making sure people come in, sign in. And I too have participated in some of that as a pre-Sevadal. So that is how my love for Swami grew, and I understood that Swami is about love and service. Swami gave this prayer, the O Lord prayer, to Dr. Hislop, and it's published in My Baba and I. And Swami gave this prayer not just for him, it's for all spiritual aspirants, for you and me. In this prayer, we offer our head, heart, hands, and everything to Swami, right? What better way to describe his mission? O Lord, take my love and let it flow in fullness of devotion to thee. Like the river flows to the ocean, let it flow in fullness of devotion to thee. Take these hands, take my hands and let them work incessantly. Not now and then, not when it suits us, work incessantly for thee. Let my soul, take my soul and let it be merged in one with thee. Take my mind and thoughts. That's the biggest challenge for all of us, isn't it? Take our mind and thoughts and let them be in tune with thee. And we can tell when you're not in sur, when the harmonium player is giving a key and we are not on that key, we are flat or sharp, you can tell it's not in tune. And ultimately take my everything and let me be an instrument to work. All work is God's work, isn't it? Swami cautions us, do not separate something as my work and your work. In fact, he says, if you keep doing that, you will never get sakshatkara. Don't say, this is Swami's work, this is my work at work. Everything is God's work. And if we think of everything as God's work, we'll do a good job everywhere, won't we? And he also reminds us, he cautions us, if you don't do the work, somebody else will, right? Never think that society cannot progress if you do not render service. Society does not depend on you. If not you, someone else will do the needful. And we look into why. Why is he saying we are not needed? But aren't we saying it defeats the purpose? We are saying love and service, go do service. But he's saying if you don't do it, someone else will do it. Why even do it? I'll talk about that in a little bit. Swami once sent for all the permanent residents in the ashram, and everybody was gathered in the mandir, Prashanti Mandir. And as is typical, before his discourse, he asked an elder to give a talk, a short talk. And that day he chose Uncle Kudumbarao, who was the caretaker of the ashram, to say a few words of inspiration before the discourse. And Uncle, in all his humility and love for Swami, he came and said, all of us should work for Swami, do Swami's work. Swami turned to him and said, no one needs to do any work for me. And then he says, Rama's divine will was enough to make things happen. And he utilized instruments like, I know you can see the monkey there, you can see the bears, oh, okay, but I don't know if you're able to see, right to Hanuman's left is a little squirrel, you can't even see in that slide. He even used that squirrel at you and me, right? He utilized these tiny instruments, these animals as an instrument, and he was just giving them an opportunity to do seva for their own benefit. And as you can see in this first image, they are building the Rama Setu, the bridge from India to Sri Lanka, so Rama could go and bring Mother Sita back from Ravana's clutches. Swami says, Rama's divine will was enough to make everything happen. Nobody needed to do anything. Rama's will was enough to make it happen. He only gave these squirrels and bears and monkeys an opportunity to do service. Why? For their own benefit. So he's giving us these opportunities to do service for our own benefit. Swami gets nothing out of it. And during the construction of the Rama Setu, story goes that all the different animals were passing these boulders, and the stronger ones passed a smaller peak, a mountain, and they would, I know it's hard to imagine, but they were strong. Swami would say, Ajanubaham, they were all big built. Rama himself was big built, Kshatriya. So they would pass these boulders and peaks, and they would defy gravity and they would float on this ocean. As it was coming to a close, Rama sent word, I think we have everything we need. We don't need any more boulders. And word was sent, and all the mountain peaks that were in the process were dropped where they were. All of a sudden, they hear this big cry. Where is this coming from? I don't see anybody crying. And there is this mountain that says, alas, I have not been chosen to do Rama's work, and it starts crying. So word is sent to Lord Rama, and Lord Rama says, the mountain is sad because I did not use it for my mission to go across the sea to rescue Sita. And he sends word and he says, tell the mountain that I promise that very soon an opportunity will come and I will use the mountain for my seva. And that is Lord Krishna carrying the little, with his little pinky finger, the Govardhana mountain in the Dwapara Yuga. So God's delays are not his denials. He didn't give, we want answers now. I want something now. But Swami knows when to give, when not to give. That too is his grace. How much to give and how much not to give. We have to trust in him. So as we see the cowherds and the Gopalas and Gopis, they were all protected from the deluge of Indra's reign. All of you are very familiar with this story. So what does that picture of Swami with the two saris have to do with any of this? Is there a theme going on? Let us be an instrument to work, right? Dr. Hislop narrates about this incident. This happened in Dharmakshetra, Swami's ashram in Bombay. Swami had asked for about 100 or so volunteers, women volunteers to gather so he could distribute saris. But only 96 of them were there. So from this pile of about 100 saris, only 96 were distributed. So naturally, 4 were left behind. And Swami said, put it back in that box, in the cardboard box it came in, and we'll return it to the vendor. And Dr. Hislop and the other elders noticed that the saris were wet. And they wondered, there is no water body here. There's nothing on that table that would make these saris wet. Where is this water coming from? And then Swami says, oh, the saris are crying because I didn't touch them, I didn't bless them. And Dr. Hislop, the saris are crying, Swami? He says, yes. And then Swami, and Dr. Hislop he's so in tune with Swami. When we are in tune with Swami, you'll understand his messages, the cryptic messages. And Dr. Hislop says, Swami, they're both having this wonderful discussion. And Swami says, remember the monkeys, and then the same in the Govardhana was held later. Ah, yes, yes. So too, these saris are crying because they were not used. No, I will use them. And then Swami calls Mrs. Hislop and a few other senior devotees, and he distributes those 4 saris to them. He even allowed that sari to be blessed by him. I remember in our student days, when Swami would distribute saris and other gifts, if Swami gave a sari and it was in a bag, I would keep the sari. My mother would say, Swami touched the cover, I will keep the cover. Once when Swami came out for darshan, like this beautiful picture, isn't that beautiful? When Swami came out for darshan, there was a twig on his path. And this happened to be in the area where the students were sitting. And they were wondering, oh, Swami is about to approach this area. There's a twig on his path, like this beautiful runner you've made. Shouldn't we be moving it out so Swami can walk freely? But they also discussed, but we'd be going out of line. Swami does not like indiscipline. I know we have some Sai students here. Not only does Swami not like indiscipline, your teachers, and they will not be happy if you get out of line and do something like that. So they were debating, what should we do? Should we do that, or should we just stay in our places? And they had this discussion going back and forth. Just moments before Swami could approach that area, out of nowhere, a sparrow comes there, picks up the twig, and flies away. And everybody's surprised. Look at that perfect timing. And then Swami comes to these boys, and Swami says, what? You think only you can do my work? Even a sparrow can do my work. Even as I'm saying, my hair is standing on ends. Even a sparrow can do his work. Why does Swami give us these opportunities to serve him? Right? The question begs, why does Swami give us these opportunities then? I love this picture of Swami throwing the laddu. He looks so mischievous and so fun, doesn't he? He is giving us a chance to earn merit. We've often seen in darshan videos, Swami would have the students or other devotees distribute sweets to everybody that is gathered. And if you've gone on pilgrimages, I'm sure you arranged for some sweets to be distributed to the devotees that are gathered there. So one time as the Sai students were distributing the laddus, and turns out these boys were hiding inside the interview room because they were waiting for that one opportunity for Swami to come in so they'll get that extra interaction. The distribution was done, but they were just waiting for that extra chance. Swami came in and asked, boys, do you know why I give you this chance, to distribute laddus? I said, Swami, so we can do service? It's a rhetoric question. Swami's going to explain that. There's an answer coming. And he says, I am giving you a chance to win merit so I can reward you multifold. Think about it. Swami is the one who made the arrangements for the laddus. The boys did not make the arrangements. They did not make the laddus, make the bundi, stand there in the hot oil. He's saying, I'm giving you a chance to earn merit. And he says, now life is good. You're right here under my nose. I'm taking care of all of your needs. But there will come a time when you have challenges in life, when you feel, I need Swami's grace. Swami will go and look at all of these. Enchi, he would count, and repay you millionfold. He says, at those critical moments when you have a need, my grace will come and rescue you. Let's think about that the next time an opportunity comes by. There are several young adults here. There's an elderly auntie waiting in line behind you to grab her food. We can let her go ahead of us. We can ask her, Auntie, do you need water? Fetch water for her. Maybe she's having trouble going and putting her plate in the trash. You can help with that. There are opportunities around us all the time, even right here at this retreat. And if you look at your life, and that's what I'm hoping you're all doing, it's not about me sharing my stories. How many laddu moments have you had? Several. Like if I ask everybody to come and share one laddu moment, we'll be here all day hearing those experiences. I'd like to share one of my Laddu moments, one of the many here. In the year 2009, I was part of Region 4 at that time, not too far from you all. I was in Kansas City for several years, the first 10 years after I got here. So we would attend the retreats in St. Louis then. In fact, the very first retreat I attended, I was telling some of the others, my first retreat I attended was here, the Labor Day retreat. I got married in June, came to America in July. So the St. Louis retreat happens during Memorial Day weekend. I'd missed that, though that's only 4 hours away. So my husband and I, we came to the Labor Day retreat right here. I don't know if it was the same location. Maybe it was a YMCA, can't remember, but it was something similar, campgrounds and beautiful. My first experience at a retreat. So this is very fond coming back. It feels like full circle after all these years, 25-something years. So when I was part of Region 4, we had planned a pilgrimage to see Swami in 2009. And the young adults from Region 7, I know Brother Ramesh alluded to the Region 7 a little bit earlier. So the young adults from Region 7 joined the devotees from Region 4, and we made a pilgrimage to Swami. That was the first time that we went as a group, as a region, to Swami. So we had, as part of that pilgrimage, we had taken a play. So the children that acted in the play were from Region 4, and the young adults from Region 7, they took a huge lead in preparing everybody for these songs. So I think this may have been one of the earlier times that this was done in Parthi, where the dialogues were pre-recorded, but in between each scene, the singing was done live by all the membership that went from here. So the plot of this play was, again, we took some creative liberties with Swami's blessings. A few of us were involved in the script writing and the directing and all of that. So the theme of this play is Sage Narada is being sent to America, USA, by Lord Narayana. And Lord Narayana tells him, I hear America is a potpourri of cultures and people from different faiths coexist peacefully. So I want you to go and investigate and come share your findings with me. So our script involved Sage Narada coming to the US, going to, and we incorporated all the different centers in our region, maybe a church in Memphis or a Hindu temple in Kansas City. So he goes to all of these places of worship. He learns about the different cultures, and Narada goes back to our Swami, who's Narayana himself, and he reports his findings and invites him to America. So that was the plan. And as you can see from this first picture on the left, the program was called United Sai America. That was intentional. And that year, there were several regions from the US in Parthi at that time, that summer. So even when Dr. Jack Feely, who was our then regional president, when he introduced the program, he didn't say devotees from Region 4 and 7. He said, devotees from America are here offering this program for you, that united. Swami loves unity, doesn't he? He says, unity, purity, divinity. You need unity first. So we took this play, and as you can see on the top right, Swami is materializing a necklace for the protagonist, who is Sage Narada, and that's me you see down there. But there is a beautiful story behind this whole Narada and the materialization. So we had set aside a day when we would audition all these children for the different parts. Now, another Sai brother and I, we were co-writing the script together, and we had a very specific look we wanted for the Narada. He had to be fun, and he had to be a little curious, maybe a little mischievous. And we wanted a certain, gait. We were looking for certain qualities in him. When I say we, Swami was looking for it through us, right? He's the door. So when we arrived there for the first audition, about the first hour or so had passed, and every child is Swami's precious child, right? But we felt what we were looking for, again, the age has to match. You cannot have a Narada who's much younger than some of the other actors. So it had to work. We were like, it's not happening. Swami is giving us this challenge, but we already have a script. What are we going to do? So the first break, there's this bubbly young boy who appears there, and he's walking around, and I'm just observing, like a talent scout almost. I'm just observing this child. He was in group 4 age at that time, and this other brother and I who co-wrote this, we talked, he said, are you thinking what I'm thinking? We thought he would be perfect for this role. We find out that they are from a small town. They're from Jonesboro, Arkansas. They don't even have a Sai center there. So these children would go to Memphis to attend Balvikas. That morning, even as I'm sharing it with you, I'm getting goosebumps. Swami comes in this boy's dream, says, wake up, wake up. There's audition today for the drama, for pilgrimage. Go, go, wake up. And that is how we arrived there. And we think we are doing the job. We think we are directing a play. I mean, there's a carnival today. I hear there's like children coming in different roles. We think we chose that for them. It's not. And Swami humbles us, with these little stories. And these are small miracles where he shows that he's always with us, guiding us. And for me, the most precious memory of that pilgrimage itself was, when we take up big activities like that, I'm sure you all agree with me, the regional officers, to coordinate this retreat, sometimes you feel you cannot sit back and enjoy because you're making sure there's hot water, running water, you're making sure the fiber optic cable is fixed so everybody gets Wi-Fi, you're making sure things are running in order. Sometimes I feel like I missed out on the program, I have to watch the recording later, and things like that. We go through this, right? And we feel, Swami, did I not get the benefit of what I was supposed to from attending this program, right? But these too are opportunities Swami is giving you to earn his grace so that he can reward you. This is for our own benefit. So Swami had, towards the end of the program, Swami, there's a little video, I'll actually bring it up here. There's no sound. So towards the end, as the bhajans were going on and Aarti had been given, Swami called me up, and this is us, we self-deprecate, we think, why would he call me? He's probably calling someone else. I'm not a regional officer, I'm just an SSC teacher. And he calls the second time and he says, you, come. And Dr. Jackfield is saying, he's calling you, come up, come up. And then I go there and Swami says, distribute these saris to the ladies who offered Aarti. He could have called anyone, right? There were so many people who worked hard for that pilgrimage, but he chose to give me my laddu moment that day. And tomorrow I'll share a few stories. And the thing is, this is not about our greatness. This is about his humility, his love for us. So what does Swami's grace do for us? It's kind of an obvious question, right? What does Swami's grace do for us? Swami does this anagram on this word seva. He says, do seva so you can be saved. We live in a time and age where we are always asking, what's in it for me? Well, what do I get out of doing that? It's Labor Day weekend, my friends are meeting, they're doing some grilling. Why do I need to go to this retreat? Uncle Ramesh is asking me to help with audio setup. Why do I need to go there? So you can get Swami's grace, so you can be saved. Krishna Janmashtami is coming up in a few days. I'm sure all of you have plans to celebrate in your own centers. There's a beautiful incident from the Krishna avatar's life, where during one Sankranti festival, this happens in the first half of the month of January. It's celebrated as Makar Sankranti. Some in Tamil Nadu, we celebrate it as Pongal. I think in the north, it's celebrated as Lori. It's also a harvest festival. One of the traditions is to eat sugarcane and even tie it by your Pongal Pane. So Lord Krishna is supposed to have been trying to break a piece of sugarcane, and he's trying to cut it. He cuts his finger. The Lord doesn't do anything by accident, right? Professor Kasturi says, Swami's every word is a mantra. Every phrase is a sutra. Every sentence a Gayatri. And every discourse is an Upanishad. Every discourse is an Upanishad. So this Lord Krishna, when he cuts his finger, he's surrounded by the queens, by Sister Draupadi. Rukmini, being the queen that she is, says, who is there? Fetch some bandage in all her finery. And Swami calls Satyabhama as Somberi Satyabhama. She's slowly walking her way to see if she can get a piece of bandage. And what does Draupadi do? She's standing right there. Immediately she turns to her sari pallu. Imagine, these were queens. How will they be dressed on Sankranti? Not in rags trying to make prasadam. Somebody else is doing that work for them. They're dressed in their finest silks. She pulls her sari pallu, rips a piece of the pallu, and ties a bandage to Krishna. And this went into her bank account, and we all know what happened when she was being dishonored in the court, the Hastinapura court. Yards and yards, enchi. He counts. You take one step, he takes 100 steps. And I'm sure all of you have those experiences. Yesterday on our car ride back from the airport with Sister Sai Prasanna and Sister Ramadevi, it was a beautiful satsang, and somehow the talk led to my close call and an accident, Sister Ramadevi's close call, and we were discussing all how Swami's grace is upon us all the time, and we wonder, what did I do to deserve such grace? There's this beautiful incident that Uncle T.G. Krishnamurti, he has served as a state president of Tamil Nadu, kind of the equivalent of your regional president here, but except in India, we have state presidents for each of the state. For many, many years, he served as the state president of Tamil Nadu, Uncle T.G., lovingly called as Uncle T.G.K. In fact, Brother Harish Naidu, who's our national president, it's his father, Uncle T.G.K., led a life of service and continues to, even in his old age, in his ripe old age of 80s now. So one time, Uncle T.G.K., his wife, Saundarya auntie, and a friend were making a pilgrimage from Bangalore. They were going to Parthi. On the way, you have to pass through Chikbellapur. If you've gone by road, you would remember. Just before they get to Chikbellapur, what happens is he's trying to avoid a buffalo that's on the road, and he swerves, and the car does not one, not two, but 4 somersaults. It flips, but magically, it lands on its 4 wheels. The tank is full of gas. The top is open. He can see the sky. He immediately checks to make sure, are you okay? Saundarya, are you okay? And auntie says, yes, I'm fine. He checks on the passenger. He's doing fine as well. But Uncle TGK has some pain and discomfort in his shoulder. But when something like that happens, adrenaline kicks in and you go, okay, what next? What happens next? We have to get going. What happens next? Clearly, they're not going to be able to go to Prashant Nilayam with that. So somehow they manage to, I don't even know how he manages to drive the car to Chikbellapur, and then he calls his people in Bangalore, and they're transported to Chennai. As soon as he reaches his hometown of Chennai, he sends a telegram, as was the tradition. Many of us may have done that, like every time there has been a tragedy or anything, we've sent a telegram to Swami. So he promptly sends a telegram to Swami, and it's not the telegram app that we use today. It's an actual telegram, which I think is discontinued now. I don't think it exists anymore. Aunties would remember, but the young adults are going, what telegram are you talking about? So he sends a telegram to Swami. It's just 2 lines. Swami, we've met with an accident while coming to see you. We will come in a few weeks as soon as we feel better. That's all, just 2 lines. He goes and sees the doctor, and the doctor says, you don't have to do anything. In about 3 weeks' time, you'll be fine. In the meantime, they're wondering, how did we make it alive? How did we make it out of this? Everybody sees the vehicle and they go, there's no way anybody could have survived this. But, they're thanking their stars, and time passes. Just as the doctor said, in 3 weeks, Uncle TGK goes to Prashanti. And as he's getting ready to enter the ashram, who does he see? He sees his good friend, Captain Oberoi. He actually used to work for Indian Airlines, and he retired, and he looked after the airport, the small airport in Prashanti. And they were good friends, because he worked in Chennai also. And Captain Oberoi says, TGK, come. So accident, everything okay? You're doing okay? I heard about the accident. And he's describing the accident to the T. He says, the car did 4 flips, it landed on its thing, it had a full tank of gas. There was another detail I missed, there was no traffic in the front or back when this accident happened. All of this happened. He says, you are narrating it exactly like it happened, but I have not provided these details to anyone, not even to Swami. All I told him were these 2 lines. And then he says, and then Uncle TGK says, Swami only saved me. Obviously it is Swami's grace. So he's eagerly waiting for Swami to come out of the interview room so he can say, and Swami comes there. Swami has his ways, right? Just when you think he's going to do this, you have to love his uncertainty. He does something else, and he puts a googly there, a little curveball. So Swami comes up to him, and he gives her this look of acknowledgement, like, how are you? No words exchanged. And he says, Swami. Swami says, tomorrow I'm going to Brindavan. You come with me over there. So next day, he didn't get a chance to thank Swami for saving him. Next day, he goes to, he joins Swami's entourage, and they head to Brindavan, which is Swami's ashram in Bangalore, Trai Brindavan. So the next day, there is a contingent of about 450 devotees from Japan. Again, don't take my word for it. This article was written by Uncle TGK. It was published in Sanatana Sarthi. I want to say this appeared in the 80s. This entire article is there. If you just Google T.G. Krishnamurti, Sanatana Sarthi, I'm sure it'll come up in your Google search. But I'm just taking some creative liberties and narrating the story in my way. So when Swami asked him to give a talk in front of these devotees, he said, before my discourse, why don't you talk today? And it used to be Uncle TGK's tradition. Typically, he would begin his discourse, begin his sharing with a verse from the Bhagavata. So he starts to sing, and then Swami's like, no, talk about the accident. And I'm sure we are thinking, Swami wants to show, look, I'm so great, I saved you from this accident. Anything but. So he begins saying, I met with this accident, but Swami only saved me. Swami's turning and saying, I didn't save you. Almost like, what are you talking about? I didn't save you. He says, Swami, everybody knows you only saved me, Swami. He says, no. Then he finishes the rest of his talk. Then he asks Swami for clarification. Swami, you said you didn't save me, but all this happened this way. How else could it have happened? Then Swami says, I did not save your life. But moments before this accident were to happen, I knew it was going to happen. I went into the vault, into your karma balance, and to see what do you have built in there. I work in a bank. I work for a credit union. So I totally understand. In fact, yesterday when I left, I had to hand over vault responsibilities to somebody and come. So I totally get this. So that's why this imagery there. Swami says, I did not save your life. You've been doing seva all these years. As state president, you traveled to the nook and corner of Tamil Nadu, the village, and you did this seva. And the beneficiaries of the seva would come up to you and say, oh, Sai Ram Ayya, thank you so much for doing this for us. And you would always say, don't thank me, thank Baba. He's the one that sent us. He's the one that's doing this for you. And every time those people thanked Swami, it came into the bank balance. It kept adding. I have been accumulating all of that and keeping it. It is these good acts that saved you. I've heard Professor Sanjay Sahani narrate this, and he probably was there at that time, which is why he was able to describe it to that detail. He says, without my permission, your karma phala came and protected you. Without my permission. He's saying God did not intervene. It was your good acts. But it doesn't end there. Swami says, had you not come to me, you would not have done these good acts. Death was sure to happen then. Death came and went back without taking your life because of your good acts, because of the karma phala. And Swami calls himself a custodian of his deeds. He says, I'm just a mere custodian. I'm just a witness. I'm just Sakshi Bhutam. My mother would say Sakshi Bhutam. I'm just witnessing everything. Not only did he do the seva, but he did not want the recognition. Right? We don't want our name published. We don't want a plaque. This was donated by so-and-so. He did not look for any kind of recognition. And of all people, Swami gave a discourse to Sevadal workers at Abbotsbury in Chennai, and he says, God's grace will come when seva is done without expectation of reward or recognition. Let's keep that in mind. Our name doesn't need to be there. Even it was beautiful to see that, that singer names were not published. There is no need to know. You just come sing the bhajan. Why do you need to know who's singing? To go tell them, brother, you sang so well, and boost his ego. Not needed, right? So how should one serve? What should be the bhava? What should be the feeling? Swami's bhava priya, not bahya priya. He doesn't care for show. He doesn't care for the ornamentation on how well your gamakas are going to land. One of the brothers during a bhajan workshop shared that, every time we sing a bhajan, it's like you're begging for Swami's grace. If you beg with a nice ornate gold bowl, you're going to get more blessings in it or what? Every prayer is a, prayer to Swami, every bhajan, every prayer. So what is the feeling with which we should be serving? I have a few beautiful pictures of Swami here. A picture is worth 1,000 words, isn't it? Here's this picture of Swami with that beautiful calf, the Gopala himself. Swami narrates this Chinnakatha. He would give these discourses with this deep philosophical, esoteric. He'll talk about the Atman and Atmic reality. And then when he notices that, okay, I am starting to lose some people. They're dozing. They had a heavy carb, breakfast today, idli and dosa. And then Swami peppers it with a Chinnakatha. And when he says, okay, Chinnakatha, even somebody who may be doing this will go, yes, story coming. There's a lesson coming, something interesting. So this is one of the Chinnakathas that Swami narrated. He says there was this sadhu, a wandering monk, who would go from, village to village. They don't have one place. They just carry a begging bowl, and they go to different places. So he was going from one village to another. As he was entering this village, he sees a group of youngsters standing around what appears to be like slush, and they're having a great time. It seems like they're watching something like a drama and just laughing, guffawing. And he goes to see what is going on, and he sees this slush, and there's a calf. Small little calf stuck in that slush. The poor animal is trying to get out. It's putting his front hoof out, and then the back is pulling it down. It's trying another, it's pulling it down. He watches this. He jumps into this slush. Picture this in your mind's eye. I have not seen it. Swami is narrating this. This sadhu jumps in his finery, in his nicely clean orange dhoti. He's jumping in there. This calf is trying to kick him. He doesn't realize he's trying to rescue it. I'm sure our firefighters go through this. They try to rescue animals, and animals are kicking them, right? Sometimes that can happen in seva. When we try to do seva, people can be abusive. People can say, act ungrateful. But you're not doing it to get their gratitude, right? So this calf was kicking him, but he was not giving up. He managed to bring the calf out. And these boys, these youngsters were like, you ruined all our fun. Why did you have to do this? Why did you have to save that calf? He says, I did not save that calf. I had to put myself out of misery. I could feel the pain. I couldn't handle the pain. I had to jump in to do that. Now I feel better. This is the bhava Swami wants us to have when we serve. How many times have we driven past someone who had a flat tire and we think somebody else will stop to help them? If you were that person with the flat tire, would you want someone to think that? Right? Now, it may not always be practical, it may not always be safe, but just trying to plant the seed here. Can I do something? You're walking, somebody drops something. Well, it's not mine. I'll keep to my own business. Whatever we can do, we should do. That's the feeling. From this story, what I took away is the sadhu felt the oneness. I think earlier today we had a quote about feeling the oneness and unity. The sadhu felt that oneness with the calf, and he says, I felt the pain of that calf. When we do seva, are we able to feel that way? And you have several devotees here in your region who do amazing service and take Swami's message into your workplace too. We'll go into that in a little bit. This second picture here is of Swami doing Narayan Seva. Sometimes we gloss over Swami's quotes. We look at these pictures and say, okay, this is high def. This will be great for my PowerPoint today. But let's look at that. Look at how Swami is serving. He's bending down, and he could easily tell the boy, lift your leaf. Clearly that's an underserved person. He's bending down and serving it in his leaf. And if you've noticed there are some other pictures, if you zoomed in, you can see he'll give large portions. He won't skimp out and give you just naam ke vaste a little bit. Sometimes, in weddings, in the first round in India, they'll give you one spoon of everything. So if the items you like, you can ask for more because they don't want to waste it, they want to save. We shouldn't serve like that. If we are making a peanut butter jelly sandwich if I'm making one for my daughter, she's on her way to work, will I just put it in the center and leave the sides dry? Or will I put the same amount that I eat that I give my daughter to eat? Right? Those details is what is important. It's the devil is in the details, right? Swami is actually in the details. What details are we showing? This is Lord Narayana himself doing seva to the Daridra Narayana. That is how Swami wants us to serve. Not as I have, you do not have. I am rich, you are poor. I can do this, you cannot do this. That the ego comes into play there, right? You feel that oneness for sure. And then I'm serving Lord, God in that person. And when I was talking about putting a generous portion in that peanut butter sandwich, for my family, I'm going to buy organic peanut butter from Whole Foods. But for this Narayan Seva, I'll buy GIFs from Walmart. It's quality. Can I serve them the same thing that I eat? Can I do that? The Narayan Seva, if you notice, when Swami would do after Akhanda Bhajan, the same food would be served to everyone. The VIPs in the veranda and the poor villager labor worker in the back, they're all eating the same food. Will I eat what I prepare for them? Will I wear what I buy for them? If I buy Nike socks, you cannot go to Dollar Tree and buy socks for the seva. Right? The details. And in fact, when I talk about the details, this is not actually sambar, it's chakra pongal that Swami is serving. When he would train the boys, I'm sure some of the brothers, if you've been part of any kind of serving, you may remember, he would tell the boys apparently, when you serve the sambar, not even one drop should fall as you're serving. And he would say, serve equal quantity of the dal and the vegetable. Don't give all like rasam to one person. Look at that, God coming down to that level and telling us how we should serve food. Right? His attention to detail. And Even for something like watering a plant, he would say, it's a young plant. Don't just put the sprinkler in the high thing and just splash it, it'll die. Water it. He would say where to water it, how to water it. He showed that attention to detail. And he does not care how much seva we did. In fact, apparently one elderly devotee who was traveling to the West to give some talks, he went to Swami and said, Swami, they're asking me to give some talks. What is the message you'd like me to take for the devotees? He said, I often hear about what projects they have done. I get to see albums. But what I'm interested to know is what has that seva done to them? How has that seva transformed you? Right? The quality of the seva is what he's looking at. What is the motive behind it? He's not going to ask us, when the time comes, like some of us who believe in Chitragupta, he's not going to ask us, what did you do? How much did you give me a report? What was the intent behind it? In the Kali Yuga, it's all about the intent. If you do a bunch and boast about it, but it is not based on a dharmic foundation, if it's not coming, it's not a noble thought, the project may be a success, but has it transformed you? Has it actually benefited the beneficiaries? We don't know, right? What is the intention that prompted you? That's what Swami cares about. He says, you may weigh and boast about the quality, but I'm not looking at that. And I'm sure many of you are familiar with this. Some of these stories, they're worth repeating, and my ears are closest to my mouth. So as I'm sharing this to you, it's a reminder to myself to not to let ego get in the way. It's quality over quantity. Sometimes we can get caught up in numbers. We planned for 500 people, only 350 showed up. What happened? We shouldn't worry about that. Those who were meant to be here this weekend are here. And those who were not are not going to be here. Swami says, even 100 horses cannot pull you if I have not willed it. Swami has willed for all of us to be here. And each week when we go to our centers, do our various service projects. Right? I'm sure many of you are familiar with this story, and it appeared in the Sanatana Sarthi, I believe it was in the February 1995 issue of Sanatana Sarthi that this story appeared. There was a school boy in Swami's institution. He didn't come from a very affluent family. So his parents would send him, still his parents managed to save some money. And if those of you who are able to read the fine print, maybe you're welcome to read that as well. But he says, Swami, I'm not from a very rich family, but whatever, my parents managed to send me some pocket change, and I would take this money and I would save it. I would not give my clothes to the dhobi. And for about a few weeks I did that. After all the boys go to sleep in the night, I would go and wash my clothes. And that's how I managed to save up. And also, Swami, these few weeks I gave up on sweets and candy. So I saved that up, and Swami, I was able to come up with 100 rupees. It's little over $1. So I was able to save 100 rupees. I know it's not much. You're going to build this big super specialty hospital, and I'm sure thousands and lakhs and crores are going to be spent. But will you please accept this 100 rupee donation from me? Even if you buy just one small brick and use it for the foundation, I'll be so happy. Swami, please accept this. And this poor boy, he was waiting for a chance to express this to Swami. But those of you who are involved, who've been to Parthi back and forth in those times, you would remember Swami was so busy that he would, with the construction and everything that is going on, morning he would talk to the doctors, he would say, this is what I'm looking for, this is my vision. He would talk to the others who are designing certain wings, planning all of that. He did not have, in the physical sense, he did not spend as much time with the students. So this boy was waiting for an opportunity, but he just put that in a letter and he gave it to Swami. He was sitting somewhere in the back. Swami walks, picks up his letter, goes inside. Within a few minutes, Swami comes out. Who wrote this letter? Who wrote this letter? So excited. Who wrote this letter? Like a proud mother. And this boy says, Swami, shall I read what you wrote? Swami, as you will. And then Swami has someone read it, and this entire letter is read out. And Swami says, this 100 rupee note is more precious to me than millions of dollars. And he was like a proud mother showing that off. Right? When we do service, how does Swami want us to do service? So we talked about the what, when, why. How does Swami want us to do this service? It's a beautiful picture of Swami eating, and you see that tumbler with Swami's water. That's just to remind me what story to tell you all. Uncle Gopal Rao, very senior devotee of Swami, he actually served as chairman of Andhra Bank. And after his retirement, he came to Prashantanilayam to settle down. And Swami asked him, think about this. He's retired Andhra Bank chairman, And Swami tells him, go to the canteen and serve water to everyone. And he's doing the seva. Swami asks him after some time, so Gopal Rao, do people come to you and you serve them? Or you go to them, to each devotee, and serve them at the table? And of course, he's a senior man, he understands. He says, Swami, I go to each table and serve. Again, let's keep that in mind. How do we serve when we go out in the communities and serve, right? Also related to the canteen is another story. And I once heard in a talk that somebody was trying to quote, a speaker was trying to quote Shakespeare, Hamlet, the soliloquy that says, to be or not to be, that is the question. And Swami stops him right there. That was his opening quote, and he thought, I'll start with a bang. Swami says, talk about how to be and how not to be. And that's what we do in our SSC classes every week, right? How to be, how not to be. And teaching SSC is one of the best seva. Best. Swami says, if you teach SSC, you don't have to do anything else. You will attain liberation. Because these are our prema putras, right? Our own children are children born out of desire, kama putras. The SSC children are our prema putras. Coming back to the story, so there was a senior uncle who was responsible for the canteen. He was the canteen in charge. And he's said to have a very sharp tongue. I have not interacted with him. He was probably at the gents' canteen. I don't want to name him, but he had a very sharp tongue. And he would use words that really hurt people's feelings. In fact, story goes that Governor Burugul Rao, I think he was the governor of UP, once he came during closing hours and he shooed him off saying, closing hours, go, no food for you. And this man came with no paraphernalia, short stature, just no people around him, no armed guards. He came to, and he said, no, closing hours, go, no food for you. That's how sharp his tongue was, right? In his final years, final moments, he had a very painful death due to several diseases. Swami went to his deathbed in the ashram, and Swami told him, you've done a lot of seva, but for all the hurt you caused my devotees, you're going through this pain, this suffering now, and your last moment has turned out to be painful. I once heard or read in an article where Swami said to this one devotee, and sometimes his messages are very specific to a devotee, he told them, we pray for different things from God. Shraddha, Saburi, we pray for different things. Education, job, promotion, transfer. But Swami says there are two things you should pray for. Anayasena maranam, vina dainena jivanam. In your final moment, you should go like that. Pattinu pono, he'll say in Tamil, like that, without giving anybody trouble. And when you're living, you shouldn't be dependent on others. You should be self-sufficient. This is what you should pray for. So this uncle, in his final moments, he went through a lot of suffering. But Swami told him, for all the hurt you caused my devotees, you're suffering. But for all the seva you did, Swami is right here with you in your final moments. Swami will be with us. But how do we want to go when our time comes? He's even to this, I know it hurts, like we think, oh, that's crude, Swami, that's going to hurt his feelings. He did so much seva. But it's not quantity that he's looking for, right? And he tells this devotee, you earned the punyam for Swami to be by your bedside. And we've earned that punyam. That's why we are here at his feet. So let's keep in mind the quality of seva. The quality of everything. Even singing a bhajan is a seva. When you're singing something in tune and everybody's connected with Swami, it's a seva. But if you're singing apaswaram, apatalam, also it's not seva. You should sing in your room, in your altar, and not put everybody through that, right? Thank you. No, it's okay. I think regardless, it's going to happen. And, sometimes, we get the consequences. Again, Swami is just a witness. Whether it's our good or bad actions, we face the music, right? He's just a witness. He's telling us, be loving, be kind when you do the seva. Sometimes we want to do seva. Now we get it. We've been through the SSC program, and we've had wonderful leaders like Hari Uncle over there who's motivating the youth. We've decided this is the path, I want to do this. But we want to do seva, but we don't know how to go about it and where to begin. Sometimes we have that starting problem, right? There was an 80-year-old uncle from Southern California. He's a retired PE teacher, and he had once signed up to volunteer at a Sai medical camp. And his adult daughter told him, Papa, what are you going to do in a medical camp? There are so many, youth, people with healthcare background. What are you as an 80-year-old, what can you really bring to the table, right? And he says, if you have the desire, I want to use his exact words. He spoke in Gujarati, but in fact, just before coming, I asked for clarification on this. He says, if you have the desire, the enthusiasm and persistence to find something, and love for service, you just have to look around, the opportunities will find you, right? Once I heard Brother Satyajit say that Swami said, if you have dua, anything you do will be a success. What is this dua? In Hindi, dua is prayer. Dhairyam, utsaham, anandam. If you have the courage, and if you have excitement, bliss, utsaham, energy, and anandam, bliss, if you have these three, the project will be a success, he says. So this uncle said, as long as you have this desire and persistence, he will look and find the work for you. Oh, thank you. Thank you, sister. Okay. And this uncle also went for Prashanti Seva. And then he was too old. They said, you're too old. You need someone to serve you. You cannot do the Seva anymore. But this is the attitude we should have, right? And he said, should not ask, I want to do this Seva. Whatever Seva is given to you, do it well. And think about it from an 80-year-old man, such wise words of wisdom, right? That is the attitude we should have. Whatever work is given to me, in Tamil, there's saying, Sevana Tirundachai. Whatever is given to you, do it properly. If it's sweeping the room, sweep it to perfection. If it is arranging the chairs, align. Use a tape if you need to measure. Do it perfectly. That attention to detail. Swami is looking for completely unrelated story. Our Professor Hemalata, in fact, she used to live in your region in Chicago. Her son was here. She passed a few years ago. She is actually the longest serving principal of a college in Southeast Asia, I think. She was the principal of Anantapur campus for many, many years. In the early 80s, mid-80s actually, we had a sports meet in the campus, and Swami was invited. The tradition of sports meet began in Anantapur, by the way, bragging rights. So when Swami came there, he remarked and said, look how clean the floor is. It's like a mirror, I can see my reflection. And then he tries to boost your ego and say, you're so great, you've done a fantastic job, and we pat ourselves on the back. As he was getting ready to climb the dais, Swami just bent down and he appeared to be picking something up. And Professor Hemalata, who was walking behind him, said, Swami, he hands her a pin and he says, nothing happened to me, but if any of the other guests something had happened, they would be hurt. Just when you think, okay, I did a good job, he's pointing, you missed a spot, kind of thing. It's not to put us down, it's to say, you should be aware. The letters Baba, it's be aware, be alert, always be aware of your surroundings, right? So coming back to this, we talked about the uncle and, whatever service is given to you, do it well. Don't ask for this and that. That should be the attitude. Don't wait for someone to come and ask us. Right here at this retreat, I know Brother Ramesh didn't pass a slip to me and say, please promote people doing Seva at the retreat. There are opportunities everywhere. Arranging the shoes. I don't think this is documented, but I once heard an old-time devotee say that during one Akhanda Bhajan, suddenly they were not able to see Swami and everybody was wondering, early years, where is Swami? And he was arranging the shoes outside. Can you imagine? And in the Tapovanam, Swami says, I am the servitor for all. I am the servant, I am serving you. And how casually we come and just throw our slippers, come back and throw our book bag, go. Learn from the Lord. He leads by example so we can follow his example. And during one Narayan Seva, Swami approached the 8th class boys and he asked them, boys, why are you standing here twiddling your thumbs? Don't you have anything to do? And the boy said, Swami, the Annas and Vaiyas, they took all the Seva, all the senior boys. There's nothing left for us to do. Swami said, at least go and serve water and earn punyam. He's not saying serve water, serve water so you will earn punyam. Why to do it? So he's saying, earn punyam. Give me an opportunity to reward you. Where will you find this loving Lord who says, please do Seva, I want to bless you. Right? So he told them, go and serve Seva and do serve water, which they did eventually. In our daily duties at home, service begins at home. There are opportunities. You just have to look around. The opportunities are there. At our workplace, there are several, as I look around, I see several physicians here who are taking Swami's message into your workplace and doing amazing work. We can all look for opportunities like that in our own workplace. I'm in a customer-facing job. And I sometimes feel like when somebody walks into my office, they have either anger or they are frustrated or, two things you cannot mess with a person, their health and their finances. And they take it very personally. So they sometimes walk in, especially the area where I work, there are a lot of elderly devotees, the county that I live in. So they come in and they think, this is all of my life savings. And then they're so worried they've had account fraud. We shouldn't start it off with, well, you gave out the information when the fraudster called you. It's not my fault. That's one way to look at it. Say, I understand your pain. So when I try and work with someone like that, I immediately think, I have an 81-year-old mother. When she goes back to India to take care of the pension, when she goes into a bank, how do I want her to be treated? So every elderly person that walks in, I think, that could be my mother. And she might not have somebody in the house to take her there to take care of this. And if we can develop that, that could be my daughter, that could be my brother. That could be Swami. How should we serve? There's in the Shirdi Sai Satcharita, Shri Baba goes in the form of a dog and the dog is shooed away. How to serve? Seeing Swami in that person. And if we cannot see Swami in that person, there are some people we'll meet in life, we'll look and go, Swami, if you're in that person, please leave. Right? But even in people like that, Swami did not. When Swami came out for darshan, he did not address in his devotees Divyatma Swarupulara and those two bad guys. Everybody is a Divyatma Swarupulara. He did not see us, and he would start sometimes his discourse with Divyatma Swarupulara. Midway, he'll say, you're man, you're not an animal. And then he'll start scolding, you're not an animal. And then he'll conclude with, you're God. We may all be in different areas, but he says, you are God. Realize that. Right? Look for opportunities to serve. One of my Sai friends who's a physician in Southern California, in 2018, she started, with the help of two other devotee friends, she started a pantry in her hospital called Prema Pantry. And this is to help the patients and staff who cannot afford food. And slowly word spread, and the program is being supported very well now, and they're able to sustain this. When our intent is noble, and we start something, there will be challenges, but Swami will send help. Like when we were struggling for the Narada character, Swami sent the Narada for us. Right? He will send help. And just like the uncle who did not care what kind of job he got, whatever we do it with humility, not with pride. And talking about humility, the ideal role model is Swami, isn't he? And all the avatars. It looks like, Krishna, the prince, the king is riding the chariot, but think about it in simple terms. When we've traveled back to India, when you use a quote-unquote the word driver, what are some chores you've seen a driver do? He cleans the car in the morning, comes, washes the car, scrubs it clean, takes it for maintenance, services it. Krishna did that as a charioteer for Arjuna. Arjuna was the warrior. He looked after those horses. And when they had bruises, he would put ointment, to cure those horses. And he was using the reins, as you see in that picture. We say, Kamala Nayana Prabhu Kamalapate, everything Kamala, lotus hands, lotus feet. You think at the end of it, his hands were like lotus? I'm sure it was bruised, right? He goes down, he does menial jobs like that. As a charioteer, he did those. And I don't know how many of you are familiar. In the Bhagavata Vahini, Swami actually narrates it in graphic detail, the whole act of Krishna serving as a charioteer. And he describes how the convention in those days was, you didn't have Bluetooth speakers, he didn't wear Bluetooth earphones to say, turn left, turn right. You didn't have anything guiding you. So the warrior would keep picture this in your mind, he would keep his foot by the side of the brows, by the temple of the charioteer. So the big toe is kind of squishing on your brow here, by the temple. So if he has to go straight ahead fast, he would push it hard so you go fast. To go left, he would probably push this way, push this way. So Krishna had bruises all over there. These are stories we don't remember, right? God, again, why does God do this? To teach us how we should be, how we should serve. And during the Rajasuya Yajna, all of the tasks were taken. And Krishna chose the task of picking up the dirty eaten leaves from the people. That is the most menial task in a wedding. If you go to a wedding, you pay a laborer to go do that. And Krishna chose to do that. Right? And of course, Lord Jesus, he did not wash the feet of 1 or 2 disciples, 12 disciples. He washed their feet and dried it. Again, he's showing by servant leadership. Several of us are in leadership position. Sometimes when it gets to our head, we have to tell ourselves this. If Jesus could serve like that, I too, that should be my attitude. I am here to serve the devotees in the region, not to exercise my power and authority. And Swami is holding these puja items in his hand, Vigraham. In the early days, in the Pathamandiram days, Swami himself cleaned the altar, garlanded his own picture. Can you imagine that? Garlanded his own picture. And one of the old devotees who used to attend our center said, Swami even rang his own Aarti bell. Once Aarti is going, where is Swami? And then Swami is there in the back ringing his bell because there was nobody to ring his bell. Now we'll all wait in line, right? God has done that. Can you imagine Swami doing things like that? And the ladies, old days ladies would say, Swami would sprinkle water, clean the porch and put rangoli even. And then the ladies had to fight and say, Swami, please, please, allow us to do seva. And they took that opportunity from Swami. In our scriptures, it is said, na karmana na prajaya tyage naike amritatva manasho, right? Not by action, not by your children, your progeny, not by wealth, the wealth we accumulate. Only by sacrifice can we attain immortality. It doesn't take a lot of effort to go down the street and do seva. It takes a lot of effort to get on a plane, go to Haiti and do seva. So, are we willing to do that? Are we staying in our comfort zones? We all like to stay in our comfort zone. There is only this much I can do. I can set aside 2 hours for Swami's work in a week. Don't ask for anything more from me. Can Swami also think like that? Where would we all be if Swami thought like that? You did this much, I'll also do that much. Then it becomes like a barter system, right? I do this much, you do this much. This is something that really touched me. When I read this, it really moved me a lot. If we keep track of everything we do for Swami, I put in so many hours here, like billable hours, for the lack of a better word. Swami says, if you serve like that, I'll give you jivitam. And the literal translation for jivitam is like a salary. You put in 8 hours, I'll give you 8 hours worth of pay. Then you are reduced to the status of a laborer. You're doing these tasks, I'm paying you for it. But Swami says, if you do this seva, if you work like you're working in your own house, and I hope we are all not keeping track of what we do in our own homes, the number of times we unload the dishwasher or run the laundry or fill gas in the car, I hope we are not keeping track. If we work like we are working in our own home, what do our children get from us? They inherit our property, don't they? Swami says, when you work like it's your own home, you inherit my property. And what is the property? Swami says, amritatvam. And therefore the picture of Swami serving nectar. If we get amritatvam, so how do we want to serve? Do we want to serve like a laborer? Do we want to keep track? Or it should become a part of our life. We should live, breathe service. And that can come in many, no seva is small, no seva is big. We saw that from the avatars examples themselves. It's a nice job. You get recognized to do this audio system here, and you also get told off if something doesn't work properly. But somebody who's in the back, whose name may never be mentioned, who made this happen, their name may not be mentioned, but they too earned the punya, right? So it doesn't matter what seva you do. Even in that, we shouldn't compare. He did that. What work I did? Of course, granted, Swami gave a lot of love and attention to the Orissa Sevadals, for example. And during birthday, what is the kind of seva they chose? Not cleaning the mandir, wearing your prim and proper sari and telling people where to sit. They were cleaning the sewers. So many thousands of devotees would come and use, and they would throw products that should not be thrown. They would get in the water in a cesspool. There's a story of a devotee or sevadal who jumped in the cesspool and cleared it so water would run. And Swami told this man, you're going to be a Jivan Mukta. I'm going to give you instant liberation. When we do seva like that, we can get instant liberation. Right? Even though Swami was divine, if you look at the various service projects, he did not do them as a divine. He did them from a human level. He faced those challenges and he overcame those challenges. Right? And that is where we need to get our inspiration. Sometimes we tend to do this, that's too much, that's beyond our means. We cannot do that. At least, Are Baba, give it a shot. Try it for 1 week. Okay, I've given it a shot. Went with a small team of people. We explored it. For these reasons, it's not going to work out. Don't drop it right away. Right? Think about it. Starting a super specialty hospital in Rayalaseema district. Rocks. You keep on digging. All you see is rocks. Swami could have said, no, we can have this in Chennai. We can have this in Bangalore. But he started it in Puttaparthi. Right? What can we do? when Swami visited my home state of Tamil Nadu in Chennai, I was born and raised in Chennai. When Swami visited Chennai, the avatar almost acts like this Maya. He tries to act human to show us how we should also act, right? And he shows these emotions. Swami was in a car with some senior devotees, and he saw the slum dwellers drinking from a puddle of water. And he asked, "What is this? They are drinking the water from the side of the street." And then the senior devotee said, "Oh, Swami, the rich can afford bottled water. Where will they go, Swami? They can't afford the 300 rupees for a Bisleri bottle. And when we go, I will only drink Aquafina. They cannot do that. Swami, what will they do? They need water. So they just drink whatever is available. And sometimes the children die from diarrhea and dysentery. It is what it is." Swami said, no, this cannot happen. And Swami made a vow. He said, "I will not set foot in Chennai till I provide drinking water to these people." And he kept his word. Several years later, he came back, and Karunanidhi was part of the inauguration and everything. He came back only after he provided water to these poor people. And there's an article online that says when Swami read the newspaper, one day he sent for the students and staff in the mandir, and the mood was very somber. Swami looked deeply, again, it's all Maya. He's trying to act a certain way to teach us how we should be, how it should come from within, not because someone is telling us to do it. And so everybody was seated. Swami waited for everybody to arrive, and Swami said, "Today I read something very disturbing in the newspaper. A young widowed mother did the unthinkable. She poisoned her two children and consumed the poison, and they've all given up their life. Why? Because they could not make ends meet. She was a young widow struggling to feed her children. Every day she couldn't watch her children die and suffer from lack of food. She decided to end their life, and she too took her life." And Swami said, in this Punya Bhumi, such a thing cannot happen. I mean, Annapurneshwari, we worship Annapurneshwari as a god. During our pujas, we nicely decorate and put in the altar. But in this land, such a thing cannot happen. And he asked, "Will you all help me? I want to start Grama Seva." That is how Grama Seva was born. Again, take a cue from Swami and say, am I moved when I see something and say, this cannot happen. We have to fix this problem. And you may not be. That's where, group seva. That's why Swami says when you walk by yourself, it seems tiring. But when it's a 5-mile jaunt, and when everybody joins along with you, it becomes fun. You're doing the seva. It's exciting. Oh, let's go, earthquake. Let's go. We have to do something. That could have been me. That could have been my mother. I want to go do work. That enthusiasm. Dua, dhairyam, utsaham, anandam. Right? And of course, the super specialty hospitals. It was impossible to build it there. And Swami set a timeline of next year I'll do so many surgeries there. And everybody was like, whoa, let's take a step back. It's not happening. And all the seniors were getting palpitations. How is this going to happen? If again, like the Rama story, if Rama willed it, he could have built the bridge could have appeared like that, and people could have walked on water like Jesus did. But he's giving us all these opportunities. And he's planting those seeds in us. So when we see these pictures, we don't just gloss over them. We go, how can I implement that? Swami says, I am God. How can I bring that godliness in me and see God in everyone else, right? And the attitude with which Swami did this, right? Once one of the senior teachers who happened to be from the state of Orissa thanked Swami for sending relief supplies to Orissa, which was hit hard by floods. And he said, "Swami, enta shrama tiskunnaru." Shrama means effort, right? He said, "Bangaru idi shrama kadu, prema." This is not effort. The work we do is not effort. If we do everything like love, again, for the mothers here and for the fathers too, when we love our child, does it take effort to love your child? No matter what they do, they might have hurt your feelings. You shed a few tears, but then you're ready to forgive them, right? It's not effort. Can we serve everybody like that? And when Swami came out for darshan and we saw all of us, yes, we are Divyatva Swarupalas, we are all his children. Right? I often used the word Sai student. Sai student is just not someone who has a certificate that says graduated from Sri Satya Sai Institute of Higher Learning. That's a student of the institute. Swami himself clarified in a Trai session when a lady was saying, "Oh Swami, my son is going abroad for further studies. He was your student." And Swami turned and said, "He was not my student." And the others, the people from the administrative block, they're thinking, "You're making a mistake, Swami. He's actually a student." Swami says, "No, he was not my student." And he says, to graduate from a university, there are certain requirements you need to meet. You have to have so much attendance, 70, 80%. You have to have, if you're from the commerce stream, you have to have taken these courses. If you're from biosciences, these courses. Physical sciences like me, you have to have done math, physics, chemistry. So also to be called a Sai student, to get the title of a Sai student. And trust me, I'm not up here on this platform saying I am all that. I'm a work in progress along with everybody else. He said, if you want to get that title as Sai student, you have to follow the syllabus I have given you, the discipline, the requirements I am placing, the sadhana I am placing. So we are all Sai students because we are all learning from Swami, right? So there is no raising the collar and saying, I'm a Sai student, give me privileges. We are all students. Just wanted to clarify that. In the bhajan that Swami really liked hearing, and typically when there's huge Narayan Seva efforts and all, the brothers would often choose this bhajan, Deena dukhiyon se prem karo mera Sai prasanna hoga. That beautifully encapsulates how can we please Swami. All of us want to please Swami at the end of the day. And that is why we wanted that first row. So Swami can come to us, talk to us, right? How can we please Swami? Now, so many years past the Mahasamadhi, we cannot be near Swami, but we can be dear to him. Swami would say, be near and dear to me. And there are certain qualities that Swami has given on what you need to develop for me to bring you, for you to call yourself as dear to me. It's important to call yourself dear to Bhagavan, right? In Swami's own words, and I think this summarizes everything beautifully. In his own words, the best kind of seva there is selfless seva, of course, right? That is, he says, that is the best sadhana. And we all do different sadhana. For someone, it might be meditation. For someone, it might be riyaz, your sangeetam. You're putting more life into it and thinking of God when you're singing. For someone, it could be seva. But Swami is saying, selfless service is the best sadhana. Swami had once taken a group of students, boys, and it could have been any of us here. He took them with him to an event, and there were a lot of dignitaries. After the proceedings of the day, there was one particular boy in that group who looked very, his shoulders were droopy, and he looked very burdened. And Swami went up to this boy and he asked, apparently he was a little on the chubbier side. Swami said, hey, Pakoda, what happened? Are you hungry? Or, he makes some joke like that, makes it light. When the air is so heavy, he tries to make the situation light. Hey, Pakoda, what happened? And he said, Swami, I feel so burdened, Swami. Like, why do you have the weight of the world on your shoulders? Swami has all these expectations from us. We are a handful of students. What can we do, Swami? How are we going to bring about this change in the world? And Swami tells him, who said you have to change the world? That's not your job. That's the avatar's job. And he said, you stand as an ideal. I will see to it that there are a couple of people that are inspired by you. Your job is to be that ideal. It is my job to make sure there are a couple of fellows out there who will watch you and think of you as, that's how I want to be. Sometimes you may have heard this as an SSC parent, and children come, other families come, there is something different about your child. My child also goes to piano. My child also goes and does all of these clubs in school, but there's something unique. What is it? Where do you go on Saturday mornings, Sunday mornings? Oh, we go for value-based classes and they learn. Oh, and then the parents go back and go, that must be it. That must be the X factor. I come from a center where about 70% of the children in our SSC program, they have brought their parents to Swami. And it's the message of Swami that they are drawn to, not the vibhuti, not the miracles. And tomorrow I'll share several of my family's miracles. Thankfully, something that my mother and grandparents, they passed down is, don't get carried away with these miracles. It will happen today, it may not happen tomorrow. That just shows you that, hey, you have his blessings at all time. It's a message that you need to focus on, right? This X factor that I was talking about, that is what we should all strive to achieve. When Swami said, my life is my message, obviously Swami's life was his message. We saw that for the past hour, but through all of these stories, these anecdotes, let's put ourselves, am I serving like that uncle in the canteen who went to the people and served water? He was a retired chairman of a bank. Or was I this person who haughtily told someone, go, there's nothing in it for you. Past the deadline, you cannot register for the retreat. Seats are taken. Find that within you, to bring that out. So to these boys, Swami said, you stand as an ideal. It's my job to make sure a couple of others are inspired to follow. He says that is enough. So all we can do and all we should do is focus on our individual transformation and seeing that if we've led an exemplary life, others will follow. Like for me, it just came, Amma does this, I do this. And I still remember when there was a maid servant in one of our family friends' homes. She had some heart ailment, and this was just around the time Super Specialty Hospital was built. My mother said, no, you have to go there. It's a free hospital. You are not making a lot of money. They'll see you right away. But when she went, she wasn't able to, be seen right away. She was persistent, and she took the lady, and she was eventually, surgery was performed. She ended up living many years after that and passed a few years ago. Being persistent and keeping up with that, right? So, as you can see in this quote, I'll just read it verbatim. Consider selfless service as the best spiritual discipline. But do not believe that you can, by means of selfless service, reform or reshape the world, like that boy had felt burdened. You may or may not. Sometimes we can inspire somebody, sometimes we can reform. Sometimes people go into Grama Seva and teach them hygiene habits. Sometimes they say, give up liquor, and sometimes you can transform and they give that up. You can reshape their lives. And sometimes it doesn't happen, but it doesn't matter. The real value of selfless service is its most visible result. And the visible result is not the change in the beneficiary, it's the change in you. Does it reform you? Does it reshape you? And he says, do selfless service as spiritual discipline. Then you will be humble and happy. They say empty vessels make the most noise, self included. Do your actions speak louder than words? I think it was Emerson that said, your actions speak so loud that I can't hear what you're saying. Going up in a platform and saying, let's do seva, but not actually going to seva, you're not going to inspire anybody. With these words, I want to thank you all for your patient listening. I'll give you a few minutes back. I can see everyone is stretching and getting a little impatient, so a few extra minutes back to all of you. Sai Ram.
Sairam. Thank you so much, Sister Anu, for such a beautiful talk on service. Let's all give her a big round of applause. What an amazing message on what's the true purpose of service, right? And self-transformation. And no work is too small, right? She shared the story of the little bird just picking up the twig. So anyone can do his work, and that work can be anything. Swami always says it's always the intent behind the service that matters more than anything else. And that's really what leads to that self-transformation. So thank you so much, Sister Anu, for sharing that. Maybe we can just ask the audience real quick. Maybe one or two people can share. Is there anything from this talk that really resonated with you? Any aha moments? Anyone wants to share? Sure, brother.
Sairam, thank you, Sister Anu. She's my fellow devotional coordinator. We exchange a lot of things between the good learnings, and I get inspired from her Zoom sessions that we have. Thank you so much for being here. I think by being there as a guest speaker, doing the service, you inspired us. So you delivered what the intent of the theme of our retreat today. Thank you so much for doing. I think a lot of reflections have come up from myself. So thank you once again. So with that, I just wanted to let everybody know we have two seva opportunities tomorrow morning. Suprabhat Seva, her Swami directly, followed by Nagar Sankirtan Seva. So please be here by 5:45. We can do both. We can offer that to Swami right there. No sign up necessary. Thank you. Sai Ram.
And continuing in that vein of service opportunities, I'd just like to make one more gentle reminder for the Liquid Love blood drive going on in the dining hall. There's still plenty of slots open between now and 12:30-ish, so please do go ahead if you're able to and either sign up or just walk on in. The lovely blood drive people are there to help, and it's a very quick process, so if you're able to, we do encourage you to please do sign up for that.
Many of us who are vegetarian will have low iron, so please, more people go so that people who can donate will donate. There's also some weight restrictions and stuff, so please go, because even some people who have signed up will not be able to give blood. So if you're O especially, or you have good iron, you're taking your iron supplements, please try.
And with that, we'll have a short break. So when we come back, we will have some wonderful workshops for everyone that will really give us a hands-on approach to what Sister Anu was talking about with service and inspiration, being inspired to serve. So please do be back here and seated by 10:45 promptly so that we can start on time. And with that, please do enjoy the break, and we'll see you back here shortly. Sarah.